Hey guys, welcome to Yellowstone! Alright guys, so we have officially made it to Yellowstone National Park. So that was a 4-hour drive from Missoula to Yellowstone. As you may or may not know, this is just a random trip. I did not do my homework on this trip. I just pulled out Google Map in my phone, hopped into the car and drove. Little did I know that you need at least 3 days to be able to see everything in Yellowstone. But in today's video, I will be showing you how to make the best time out of a 4-hour trip at Yellowstone National Park.
Arrived.
So we've entered the national park through the west entrance, which points to geysers and hot springs, including the famous Old Faithful. Yellowstone National Park is a vast area of wilderness on top of a volcanic hotspot. A huge part of the park is in Wyoming, but parts of it spreads into the state of Montana and Idaho. So this road is 14 miles stretch from the west entrance. Yellowstone has 5 entrances, with 3 in Montana and 2 in Wyoming. Oh my god! There you are guys! Bisons! The park is also a habitat to hundreds of wildlife, including antelope, elk, wolves, bears, and the famous bisons. So here's a trivia for you guys. The bison is the largest land mammal in North America, and a group of bison is called a herd. So let's continue our drive, and the sites that you need to watch out for is the Maddison River, which begins in Yellowstone National Park and stretches 19 miles throughout the park, and it's renowned recreation for fishing, birding, and wildlife viewing. This is the Maddison River guys, and we have more bisons in there. Okay, way to go guys. So let's hop back in the car and see if we could get a closer view of the bisons. So this is still the Madison River covering the 19-mile stretch. We are about to reach the end of this 40-mile road, and you have to watch out for the signage that directs us to Old Faithful. So there you are, guys. We are 16 miles away from our goal. For now, we won't be able to see the famous Mammoth Spring because that is in the opposite direction. So, we just passed by the Madison, and we are headed to the Lower Geyser Basin, then the Midway Geyser Basin, and our last stop will be the Upper Geyser Basin, where we can find the famous Old Faithful. Let's go! I think we're getting close to the geysers, guys. Look at that! So here we are. We finally made it to the Lower Geyser, which is the largest geyser basin area in Yellowstone. But this is what I found out. The parking lot is small and it can be hard to find a parking spot, but the sights are worth well the hassle. And this is the most important thing to remember when walking on the trail. Always stay on designated trails because the park has many thermal features that includes hot pools, steaming fumaroles, erupting geysers, which can harm anyone and can claim life if someone falls into the pool. So this is the Fountain Paint Path Trail. We will follow this boardwalk trail to see all the thermal features in the Lower Geyser Basin. So we walk down the boardwalk towards the loop, and we see the number of dead pole pines. They were drowned by shifting hot springs and hardened by silica absorbed into their base. We continue to walk on the boardwalk, and as we approach the geysers, you notice a smell of rotten eggs. Geysers emit a bit of stench due to high levels of sulfuric acid and hydrogen sulfide, but the beauty of these incredible sights is well worth the slight pungent sulfuric smell. First up is the Celestine Pool, which is a hot spring with an average temperature of 183 degrees Fahrenheit. Unfortunately, this is one of the hot springs in Yellowstone that has claimed a human life. Jelly Geyser, also known as the Jelly Spring due to its rare eruption frequency, only erupts for a minute. This is the Clepsydra Geyser. This is a pretty geyser that frequently erupts to a height of 45 feet. It was named after a mythical water clock because in the early days, it erupted with a clock-like regularity. This is the Fountain Geyser. Its 30-minute eruption can reach up to 75 feet and wildly explode in all directions. Since the nearby Morning Geyser is usually dormant, Fountain is the major performer in the area, which usually erupts every 4 to 15 hours. This is a fumarole or fumarole. It is basically a steam vent formed by the circulation of brown water through the heated rock. Red spouter is a fumarole and a mud pot in one. It was formed as a direct result of the 1959 Hebgen Lake earthquake. A vent opened up in this spot, which then turned into a mud pot when the water table beneath the surface went high. Letter pool was a warm pool with a letter-like brown bacteria. After the 1959 Hebgen Lake earthquake, water temperature rose and killed the bacteria. Now it has cooled and once again supports the brown bacteria. This is the fountain paint pots, which is affected by rain and snowfall. When there is a lot of rain, the paint pots are soupy, and as they dry out, they become thicker and thicker. We are in our last stop in this trail, the Scenic Spring, which is a beautiful blue hot spring. Look at that! It's so pretty! Now, let's step out of the Lower Geyser Basin and drive 2.2 miles or approximately 4 minutes to the Midway Geyser Basin, which contains a small collection of mammoth-sized springs. This basin is actually part of the Lower Geyser Basin, but because of its isolated location between the main features of Lower and Upper Geyser Basins, it became known as the Midway. From the trailhead parking area, we will take this wooden bridge across the Farhol River to a magnificent landscape. The Midway Geyser Basin is the smallest of the 3 geyser basins, but despite its small size, it contains 2 of the largest hot springs in the world, the famous and beautiful Grand Prismatic Spring and Excelsior Geyser. Other colorful springs include turquoise and opal pools. So from afar, even before stepping onto the wooden bridge, you can already see hot steaming water is streaming down from the opposing riverbank from hydrothermal pools above. This cascading steaming water creates a colorful channel lined by yellow and orange bacterial mats. Look at those different colors on the rocks, guys. These are millions of bacteria thriving on hot water. These bacteria are called thermophiles, thermo for heat and phile for lover. Although they are too small to be seen with the naked eye, trillions are grouped together and appear as masses of color. So the colorless and yellow thermophiles grow in the hottest water, and orange, brown, and green thermophiles grow in cooler waters. At the end of this bridge, we'll head up to the slope alongside the runoff of Excelsior Geyser, which dumps 5 million gallons of nearly boiling water to the river each day. We will follow the water to its source, and we will see a steaming crater containing a vibrant blue pool. The Midway Geyser Basin trail looks like this. It is a 0.8-mile lollipop loop. It is considered an easy route. It takes an average of 15 minutes to complete, but due to the frequent stops as you want to take a look on each beautiful springs, it will take longer. So our first stop is the Excelsior Geyser Crater, formerly known as the Excelsior Geyser, because it used to be an active fountain-type geyser. The crater is lined by short, jagged cliff that was created by rare massive geyser eruption. In the late 19th century, it was an active geyser that erupted frequently. Most eruptions were about 100 feet high and may exceed 300 feet. Now, it is believed that these eruptions damaged its internal climbing system that made it as a productive spring at present time. The pool discharges 4,000 to 4,500 gallons of hot water per minute directly into the Firehole River. After leaving the Excelsior Geyser, the walkway continues up gently sloping plain toward the Grand Prismatic Spring. Now we come to the Grand Prismatic Spring, which is the most photographed thermal feature in Yellowstone. That's because of its crazy bright colors and enormous size. It is the largest hot spring in the United States and the third largest in the world. It is deeper than a 10-story building and is bigger than a football field at 370 feet in diameter. The pool constantly bubbles and steams, forming clouds of hot mist that blow around in the breeze that makes it hard to see the pool but adds to the enchantment of the scene. So depending on which the wind is blowing, the mist can pass right over you as you stand mesmerized on the boardwalk. The rainbow-colored waters of Grand Prismatic Spring are what really makes it so special. The deep blue color in the center of the pool is pretty astonishing, and the bright red, yellow, and orange surrounding the edges make it even more spectacular. This huge oval pool is surrounded by an unusual colorful bands of algae and travertine terraces with wavy runoff channels, giving the appearance from above of a giant blue star. And as you continue to walk on the boardwalk, you will see a vast area of slick surface surroundings covered in rippling water, and this surface is colored by thermophiles in oranges, reds, and browns. After we see the grandeur of Grand Prismatic Spring, we walk half a mile on the boardwalk trail to see the two smaller pools. These are the Opal Pool and the Turquoise Pool. While both pools are beautiful, they don't compete with the other two for magnitude. So, there you are guys, we complete the loop by turning left at the junction and walk back past the runoff from Excelsior Geyser and over the bridge to finish the walk. So from the Midway Geyser Basin, we drive 6.6 miles or 12 minutes to the Upper Geyser Basin. It is the geothermal basin that hosts the majority of geyser in the world, and the place where Old Faithful, the most famous geyser in the park, is located. Our first stop is the Biscuit Basin, named for the unusual biscuit-like deposits that used to surround Sapphire Pool. So we start by walking across a wooden bridge over the Firehole River, which is fed by water from Biscuit Basin and surrounding hydrothermal springs. As we walk straight to the boardwalk, we will see the Black Opal Pool, which is a large murky blue pool with water flowing into the other pools. Soft center and sparse vegetation surround the area of the pool. Outflow from the pool forms abraded channels of orange and green thermophiles. And just adjacent to this pool is the wall pool. As the name suggests, the pool has a wall and overhanging shelf of cinder to the west. It is related to the two pools as a hydrothermal explosion crater. This is a Black Diamond Pool, a murky blue pool with outflow that forms a braided channel of orange and green thermophiles. Now, let's continue to walk on this 2/3 of a mile lollipop-like hike. Even though the boardwalk is short, there are plenty of hydrothermal features to see. As we continue to walk just before the loop portion of Biscuit Basin Loop Walkway, on the right side, we come to a beautiful bright blue pool. This is the Sapphire Pool, which is named for its blue crystal clear water and for its resemblance to an oriental sapphire. Biscuit-like cinder deposits once lined the edge of Sapphire Crater, and in 1880s, it received its name for the Nabi Formation. This was once a placid hot pool. It was not until after the 1959 earthquake that the major eruptions occurred and the biscuits were blown away. Beyond Sapar Pool, the boardwalk forms a loop trail. Walking clockwise, you first come across Jewel Geyser, named for the beads of pearly sinter around the geyser's vents. Jewels erupts frequently at approximately 8 minutes interval. Across the boardwalk from the Jewel Geyser, a rolling geyser structure which resembles a giant clamshell. The shell spring is a depression with a built-in rounded yellow solidified center with a small pool at the center. This steamy blue pool is the Silver Globe Geyser, which is a part of the Silver Globe Geyser complex. Silver Globe Geyser sits in a slight hillside with an overhanging cinder cliff. The deep blue pool is clear blue and some vegetation grows on the hillside. This shallow water-filled depression is the Silver Globe, and just adjacent to it is the Avoca Spring. Avoca Spring is a strong spouter that continuously boils with build-up solidified center. Just across the boardwalk from Avoca Spring, as we continue to walk west, this leads to the Mystic Fall Trail, and just a few feet away, we come to the West Geyser. Eruption of this geyser is extremely rare. Now, we come to the two Mustard Springs. This is the West Mustard Spring, which is more of a quiet pool. The East Mustard Spring is more of an active geyser, usually erupts every few minutes up to 10 feet high. And now we come to our last stop, the Black Pearl Geyser. This geyser appears to be a gaping hole that is continuously steaming. Moss-like vegetation surrounds the opening of the surface. And just exactly across the Black Pearl, you can spot the Fumarole Geyser. Now, let's step out of the Biscuit Basin Trail and head to the Black Sand Basin, one of the Yellowstone's most colorful basins that showcase a small isolated collections of geysers and hot springs. The Black Sand Basin is named for its black sand that covers much of the basin, This black sand is called obsidian, which is a natural form of glass, and is formed when lava cools too quickly. Black Sand Basin was originally called the Emerald Group, but tourists started calling it Black Sand Basin. As we step on the boardwalk, we can see two small geysers that are active constantly. The one closer to the boardwalk is the Jagged Spring, which is splashing mildly, and right close to it is the Ragged Spring, which splashes approximately 3 feet high. This is the Cliff Geyser. This picturesque geyser is a fountain geyser, which means it erupts from a pool. The eruption is every few minutes and can reach heights of 30 feet. It's also a geyser right alongside a creek. As we continue to walk on the boardwalk and before we reach the Green Spring, we see this beautiful spring. This is the Green Spring. It is the largest spring in the Black Sand Basin. It sometimes erupts as a geyser to a height of 12 feet. Now we come to the rainbow pool. We can see the colors of the rainbow along the edges of this pool. The pool seldom erupts. This large colorful pool is the Sunset Lake. It is deep and blue at the center, and the pool is surrounded by yellow and orange thermophiles. This is the Emerald Pool. This large steaming pool has thin solidified center around the edge. Orange thermophiles surround the pool. Emerald Pool was once blue with some yellow thermophiles that caused its water to appear green. But a drop in water temperature have resulted in the loss of the bright colors, now being replaced with orange murky pool. This is an evidence that animals can survive the extreme heat of these thermal features. This is a grumbler. It is a small but noisy hot spring, constantly bubbling and emitting hot steam. This is our last stop, guys, in the Black Sand Basin, and we are getting near to the Old Faithful. I'm super excited! This is the Spouter Geyser. It provides a spectacular show before you leave the Black Sand Basin. The water in its snow-white pool showcases a beautiful sky blue color. Okay, my dynamos, it is time to go to the most touristy site of Yellowstone, the Old Faithful Geyser. So from the Black Sand Basin, we drive a mile to the Old Faithful. The geyser viewing is very accessible. The park has a very large parking lot and a beautiful visitor center that tracks the time, height, and length of an eruption to predict the next eruption. Here we are, guys. We officially made it to the Old Faithful. There are already few tourists on the site, guys. Let's go sit on one of the benches and wait for the Old Faithful to erupt. It is also freezing cold in here, a bit of snow and rain, and wind chill is to the bones, but I am willing to patiently wait for the Old Faithful. Waiting for the geyser to erupt is quite challenging and needs patience. There were times that the steam rises up and some splashes of hot water coming from the vent, and people would be excited that this is a signal for an eruption, but it's not, as the steam slowly settles down. But Old Faithful is remarkably faithful in its frequent and predictable eruptions. It erupts around 20 times a day, every 44 minutes to 2 hours. Eruptions can last from 1.5 to 5 minutes and can shoot 3,700 to 8,400 gallons of boiling water to a height of 106 to 185 feet. To watch Old Faithful erupt is a tradition. Tourists from all over the world have traveled thousands of miles to watch this famous geyser. Hold on, my dynamos. I think this is it. The Old Faithful is about to start the show. There you are, guys. Watching the Old Faithful erupt is truly a breathtaking experience. It is worth the wait. It is indeed a magnificent show. And as we leave the park, let's have a last look of the bisons. Thank you for watching my dynamos. See you on my next journey.